AIM Healthcare is a revolutionary elderly care facilities player providing top-notch equipment and services to elderly homes across the nation. We've recently incorporated WeCare by MDT innovations into our facilities as our solution of choice for remote monitoring and increased visibility of equipment, caretakers, and residents at elderly homes. Some of the features of WeCare include real-time location tracking, fall and violence detection, asset management, and attendance monitoring.
When I came into this world, you were tired and serene. I felt the warmth of your hands. I was always demanding and never thanked you enough. Over the years, I grew up, left home to seek my fortunes, and had hardly any time to see or think of you. I did miss you, Mommy and Daddy, but never really expressed my feelings for you. Eventually, I started my career, met my love and married, settled down and had my own children. Today, I matured, mellowed down, learned to appreciate my life and that of my loved ones, Mommy and Daddy. Every time I come back home, I wish for time to slow down. For each time I come back, you have both grown older. How I wish I can stop the clock and hence stop you from getting older. How I wish I could do something to get back all those lost years. The lost years I did not comprehend. The value of time I could have spent with you and for you. Mommy and Daddy, Thank you for the unconditional love showered on me all these years. I don't know how much more time we have together in this world. I feel helpless when I think about this. But then, let me not waste any more time. Let me make your golden years happier, healthier, contented, and joyful. Birth, life, and death are inevitable. Take charge of your family's well-being. Give back comfort to your elderly parents while you still can. Love them today and every other day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hello. We have 16 participants in with us at the moment and more coming in. Welcome to today's webinar. Can you guys hear me? If you can, do type in number 1 in chat. Let's see whether everyone can hear me just fine. Thank you very much. Hello, Adeline. Hello, Prof. Tan. Hello, Dr. Sharifa. Hello. Thank you very much. All right, we will begin on time. Just give me a moment. Okay, yes, so Dr. Kong is here, Muhammad Hasif is here, Muhammad Asif, Dr. Rosalina, Olivia, Prof. Tan. Okay, very good. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Management of Older Persons, brought to you by today's event organizers, iElder.asia and Act for Health. Today's event is open exclusively for GPs, nurses, and medical practitioners with 1 CPD point available to those who successfully complete today's webinar from beginning to the end. So be sure to fill in the feedback form at the end of the session to qualify for your CPD points. We'd also like to take a moment to thank our co-sponsors for today's webinar. We have Abbott, Viva Mastery Consultancy, and Cypress Medics Berhad, who have provided us with prizes for 10 lucky winners, which we will select for a lucky draw for the participants of today's webinar. Winners will be selected after the event, so stay tuned with us and stand a chance of winning one of these prizes. My name is Eugene Lee from iElder.asia, and I will be your MC this afternoon. Before we begin our webinar, I'd like to kindly ask all participants to rename yourselves so that your name reflects who you are and where you're from. Do keep your mics muted throughout the session. If you have any questions, you can type it out in chat at any time or raise it during the Q&A session later on in today's agenda. Today, we'll be covering various topics regarding senior health with our guest speakers, respective specialists in the field of aging and geriatrics from University Malaya, Act for Health, and UITM. But first, we'd like to invite CEO of AIM Healthcare and iElder.asia, Dr. Kong Wai Hong, to give us a few words of welcome. Dr. Kong, the floor is yours.
Hello and welcome. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, Dr. Kong, we can hear you just fine.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. And a very good afternoon, Professor Dr. Tan Mao Pin, the Managing Director at Act for Health, Professor in Geriatric Medicine at the University of Malaya, and Dr. Sumaya Mat, a scientist whose special research focus in force and musculoskeletal issue in older people. And Dr. Rosalina Rosli, the CEO in Act for Health, Dr. Muhammad Asif bin Jafar, a senior lecturer at UiTM Negeri Sembilan. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm your host today, Dr. Kong Wai Hong, the CEO at AIM Healthcare. So thank you for taking the time to join us today as we talk about update on management of older persons for general practitioners. So according to the World Bank, Malaysia is going from an aging to aged society in just 24 years from year 2020. So by 2044, 14% of the population is expected to be above 65 years of age. So at this population age, the demand for the medical products and services that improve the quality of life will follow. So we, Asian Integrated Medical Sdn Bhd, AIM Healthcare, and iElder.asia in healthcare industry is preparing ourselves to provide proper goods and the best medical services to meet their needs. So hence, we are also the authorized marketing arm of Act for Health to promote proven assessment training program for healthcare providers. So this is why we are conducting a webinar today. So throughout this webinar, I'm assured that you will leave with some ideas of how to equip with the right assessment tools for senior population in your healthcare center or clinics, which is validated by researchers to suit our aging Malaysian population. So, and these assessment services will be an extra way of earning additional income in addition to regular healthcare services. So this program will provide one CPD point to you, and there will be a surprise lucky draw for you at the end of this session. So stay tuned to learn more about it. So last but not least, I hope that today inspire ideas and discussion around the ways that we can make our medical services a higher level of quality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kong. Next, I'd like to invite our first guest speaker of today. She's a reputable professor in the field of geriatric medicine from the University of Malaya. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Dr. Tan Miao Pin.
Hi, thanks for the introduction, and thank you very much, Dr. Kong. Yeah, I have to say we have not met, and so it's a real pleasure to meet you for the first time. And thank you for actually your innovative spirit and your passion to actually help also create the silver industry. Yep, and we really hope that today we should be able to entice more healthcare professionals, especially general practitioners out there, to actually participate in trying to provide for the future. And we hope that whatever we share with you, you don't only just take it on board as something that is available, but also you participate in innovation. Please give us feedback. And if you've got any ideas, please do share so that we can actually hopefully work together to make any ideas a reality. I think everything starts with an idea, so don't hold back. Okay, so I'm going to actually talk to you share a little bit about how the journey started for myself, and also and then link that to what Act for Health has got to provide. Okay, so I'm Tan Mo Pin. I'm the founder and co-founder and managing director of ACT for Health Sdn Bhd. We just call it Act for Health for short. And Act for Health is actually a startup spin-off from the University of Malaya, and it was developed to actually really fast track and to the public innovations for healthy aging. So without further ado, I'll just get on with my talk. I could talk forever though, so I'll try and keep to time, promise. Okay, right. So falls. So I am a UK trained geriatrician. So yeah, in the UK, it takes a long time to train as a geriatrician, and then to do everything I can to make my stay in, to prolong my stay in the UK, I also then did a research degree on falls in older people. So and then I came back and lo and behold, this was my life, trying to look at how we can prevent falls in our older persons. So we all take for granted the ability to stay on our 2 feet. And there's so many parallels in terms of analogies to staying on your 2 feet. But in reality, staying on your 2 feet is really hard, just like life. Yeah. So it actually calls for a complex systems of control in our body in order for this huge being to actually balance on 2 sticks and to actually not fall. So why is it that the older person therefore has more of a challenge staying on their 2 feet? So there are loads of, as I said, it takes a whole complex system to help us stay on our feet. So in the older person, we start with the top. There might be problems with their brain. They might have had a stroke. They might have a condition called dementia, which my colleagues will actually go through in a while. They might have Parkinson's disease, which is otherwise coined the falling disease. It's also a problem of the brain. And sometimes it's to do with the blood flow to the brain. So the heart not pumping hard enough, or the blood pressure simply being too low such that they are not getting enough blood right to the top. That's where the brain is. It's almost a design flaw, isn't it? That the brain is at the top. And therefore, to actually stay on our feet, we need to make sure that enough blood gets to the top. Okay, and then moving downwards, the older person might need glasses, but might be too vain to wear one like me, or actually can't afford to buy proper glasses. They might have cataracts and they need operations. They might have glaucoma, which we call the silent disease. And before they know it, their vision has been impaired. They might have a problem with the back of the eye. We call it macular degeneration. And with the scarring at the back of the eye, which is mostly uncurable, the vision becomes poorer. They might have a problem with the hearing. And the ear is a very special organ. We know that it helps us listen, it helps us hear. And then, we know when we're little, when we're naughty, our mother pulls our ear because we're not listening. But it also helps maintain our balance. So in our ear, there's these things called the semicircular canals that actually tells us where we are at any point in time and space. And if there's any problem with that control system, then staying on our 2 feet becomes compromised. There might be a problem with our heart. I already alluded to, if our heart is not pumping enough, we won't get enough blood to the brain, and that will compromise our ability to stay upright. So it might, sometimes if we are dehydrated, or if we have a medical problem, then our blood pressure might be too low in order to get enough blood to the brain. Or sometimes the heart simply has a wiring problem, and therefore it's not pumping as regularly as it should, and therefore you're not then, when the heart is not pumping, you're not getting blood to the brain, and you go down, we'll call it like sack of potatoes. Muscles become weaker. Often as you get older, it's not an absolute necessity, as we'll come through. Your muscles do not have to get weaker just because you're older, but unfortunately, as you get older, there's a tendency to become more sedentary. It might be a cultural thing, or it might be because they have accumulated a number of medical conditions, including arthritis, including strokes, including heart problems, and they move less and less, and therefore the muscles waste away, and they lose the ability to actually then maintain their balance. A lot of older people suffer from bladder problems. It's a taboo subject. So they don't go and see the doctor because they don't quite know how to tell the doctor, especially when they can't see a doctor without a child taking them to see a doctor. It's a bit embarrassing to talk about. But then they end up rushing to the toilet and not drinking enough water, both of which can lead to increased risk of falls. Not drinking enough water means they get dehydrated. They might then faint and fall over. And then or if they're rushing to the toilet, they might not be paying attention to the surroundings so much, and they're more likely to fall. And incontinence is actually a huge risk factor for fall. And it's very sadly, it is curable, but few people have sought treatment. Joint problems, we used to call it wear and tear arthritis, but we now know that arthritis is actually a form of inflammation. So, and it's more likely if your body is heavy, then you're more likely to have inflamed joints. But also if you've had injured yourself, there's also you're also more likely to get arthritis, and having pain in your joints will then cause you to avoid movements, and that makes your joints very unstable, as well as reduce, and also causes your muscles to weaken. But this is probably one of the major reasons why our older people fall. And our research showed that 4 out of 5 of fallers are actually on drugs that increase the risk of falls. We call this falls risk increasing drugs, or I like to call them culprit medications. And the side effects of medications, depending on which one you take, it can include drowsiness, confusion, blurred vision, dry mouth, low blood pressure, bradycardia, slow heart rate. They can cause nausea, vomiting. You can eat less, and that causes your muscles to get weaker, your muscle to waste away. And it can cause gastric ulcers, constipation, incontinence, and muscle weakness. So drugs are supposed to help us feel better, but in older people, because they take too many medications, then this can actually lead to increased risk of falls. This happens to be the house of a relative of mine by marriage, and he fell and broke his hip. And when he lived like a hermit, and nobody was ever allowed to see his house because he was, of course, conscious that his house was a mess. But when we went in, boy, was it a mess. There was no way this man was going to stay on his feet because there was loose papers all over the floor, and things everywhere. And unfortunately, older people do have a tendency to hoard. Many of them, though fewer and fewer of them are now having that issue, many of them actually grew up during the Second World War, and times were very hard, and so they find it very difficult to throw anything away. And the houses can actually be more or less, we'll say, death traps. And this is actually a pair of glasses. I think we all know what sort of glasses they are. They are bifocal lenses. So falls can sometimes also happen with the best intentions. So we say that if you don't have glasses, you can't see, you fall. But if you wear the wrong types of glasses, then you are also more likely to fall. And with bifocals, when you look down, you actually use the amplification part of the glasses. And then you're more likely to then, you can't judge the distance when you go downstairs, and then you're more likely to fall. So people just need to be aware of it. And some people do learn to compensate, particularly with varifocals nowadays. But this is something they need to be aware of. And sometimes we advocate that they actually have 2 pairs of glasses and wear the distance glasses only when they go out. So why do Malaysians fall? So this is, we know that, so I only mentioned a few what we call risk factors for falls, but actually there are hundreds, and the latest count is over 400 published risk factors for falls. So I could be here for a long time, or I could tell you the 3 most common reasons why the older Malaysian falls. So they might fall usually because they take too many medications. So 4 out of 5 have this. 3 out of 5 may not have unsteadiness or balance problems. And similarly, 3 out of 5 have problems with maintaining their blood pressure when they're upright. So we call this postural hypotension, or make it simpler, low blood pressure. And this might be because they might have a condition called such as diabetes or Parkinson's disease, which has damaged the nerves that controls the blood pressure. So our nerves actually usually tell our blood vessels to squeeze hard when we stand up in order to maintain our blood pressure. But if these nerves are affected, then our blood pressures cannot squeeze the blood back up into our heart, and therefore the blood pressure drops. It might be medications, dehydration, or bleeding. And sometimes this condition called autonomic dysfunction, which is a problem itself with the nerves that controls the blood pressure. So, and the other thing to note is that these risk factors often coexist. So the older person might fall not just because they take the wrong type of medication or not because they have balance problems, but what it is they have a combination of risk factors. Yeah, so they might have a bit of they might be taking medications that increase the risk of falls. They might have a little bit of dizziness, something wrong with the inner ear maybe, and a problem with the balance. And the combination of these factors then massively increases the risk of actually falling and challenges the ability to stay on their feet. Okay, so we do know from the National Health and Mobility Survey 2018 that 1 in 6 older Malaysians fall at least once a year. So what happens after a fall? So this is an X-ray of someone's wrist. So usually when we fall down, we put our arm out to save ourselves. But if you already have brittle bones or osteoporosis, then even a fall from standing height, putting your arm, saving yourself might result in a wrist fracture. So that's often the ones who get picked up after a wrist fracture. We are the ones we call lucky ones, and then they get treatment for osteoporosis, and then that saves them from any further fractures. But sometimes people are a bit unlucky in that they have a wrist fracture and no one picked it up, or they didn't have that wrist fracture. And then when they get a bit older, their reflexes are a bit poorer. When they fall, they could fall on the bottom or the side, and that could actually result in a fracture of the spine. So on your left is X-ray of the spine side view, and you can see if you count the squares. Those are the vertebrae down to the third square. You can see that it is no longer a square, it's become wedge shaped. So what happened was this person probably fell on the bottom, and their weight basically caused the vertebrae to actually crush. And this is a vertebral fracture. It can be agonizing, and the pain might never go away. And therefore, prevention is actually very, very important. But what we are most interested in preventing perhaps is the X-ray on your right. This unfortunate patient has suffered a hip fracture. The hip bone is one of the biggest bones in the body. Of course, the pelvis is quite big too. And for it to fracture, usually you need a lot of force. But in an older person, if the osteoporosis becomes severe enough, then even a fall from standing height can lead to a fracture of the neck of their femur bone, the biggest bone in the body. And then, the femur bone is the bone that if you like chicken legs, yeah, the chicken leg is where the femur bone is. So it is actually a very big bone. And if that is fractured, for it to heal is extremely difficult, and a lot of people after a fracture can no longer walk again, and are quite disabled afterwards. This is what most people fear after a fall. They fear a bleed in the brain, and this is what happens after a fall in some older people, maybe 1% or less, because the brain has shrunken a little bit compared to when they're younger. So when they fall, the brain shakes in the skull, because the skull is actually a hard structure. So when the brain shakes in the skull, they can actually tear the veins that actually supply the lining of the skull, and they get what we call a subdural hemorrhage. But this is probably more common than any of the other complications of a fall: fear of falling. So after a fall, the older person might lose confidence, and they might want to avoid any further activities because of the fear of actually falling and breaking something. And this often then leads to a downward spiral of deterioration, deconditioning, loss of mobility. And what we do find is that after an in-depth presentation to the accident and emergency with a fall, so the ones who come to accident and emergency are the ones who are usually the ones who injure themselves. And it doesn't really matter whether they fractured the hip or not. Within 1 year, 20% of older people who present to the accident and emergency department after a fall is no longer alive. That sounds all very doom and gloom, and I think a lot of us feel quite sad about things right now. But what can we do? So have no fear. We are here. So this is one of the first projects that I had the pleasure of actually taking part in when I came back to Malaysia. So this was the My Fate study. Okay, so this was a randomized controlled trial looking at multifactorial interventions. So remember that falls had lots of potential causes. So we chose 6 components, 6 of the most common causes, and we looked at whether if we actually found out if the older person had any of these risk factors, and we addressed the risk factors they had. So we call this individualized therapy. And then we might actually prevent them from falling again. So we recruited those aged 65 and over who've had 2 or more falls in the last 12 months or a fall with injury, mainly from the accident and emergency department as well as the primary care department in our hospital. And we gave them individualized therapy, and those included exercises. We used the Otago exercises, home hazards assessment. We went to their homes to look at what potential death traps they could be and try and modify their environment. We did eye tests. We actually, so what we found, and those were some of the interventions, and what we found was that the older person had better muscles, better muscles, better confidence after they had this treatment. We weren't actually quite able to establish a difference in false outcomes, but overall our participants were happier, had better quality of life. Okay, oops. So after the My Fate study, we moved on to the LIFE study, and that's just completed in 2021. So what we found with the My Fate study was that yes, we didn't reduce the number of falls, and we suggested what we anticipated was that the ones who had their individualized therapy actually moved more, and those who didn't have any treatment just stopped moving, and therefore if people don't move, they don't fall. So we wanted to look at physical activity after the fall and what influenced their physical activity. And then we also looked at the heart rate and blood pressure changes after the fall using a specialized equipment to see whether that will actually help us predict falls and also look at psychological effects of falls. And then we also went to their own homes to do a more detailed survey to see how we can actually help the older person stay active now after a fall. So we're no longer looking at why they fall in terms of the environment, but to look at how we can actually maintain the older person's physical activity after a fall. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, and with every challenge came an opportunity. So we had no choice but to pivot our study to virtual, and that meant that we also developed a virtual product for falls evaluation. So by just a video call, we are able to establish whether someone has a problem with their mobility. So that means if they have issues getting around, whether they could have a problem with their memory, whether their blood pressure dropped when they stood up, whether they had psychological issues, or whether they were feeling a little bit lonely, unable to get about and unable to actually connect to others. So all these were products. So all these products are now available to you through Act for Health. And so this is the center. I'm in it right now. So that's our front door. You can see it's a very friendly place. It's nice and warm. And it's a ground floor access with disabled toilet. And these are our products. So we've got the force risk assessment training, which actually basically we will train you to how to do a force risk assessment, and that will then lead on to the potential interventions that you could actually administer to the older person. And these are the interventions that we are also able to provide. So one is home hazards assessment, which we can actually provide, you can actually participate in the training of, as well as Ortego exercises. So these are the products we have available, and we do hope that you will be able to help us join the team and help upscale access, improve access to false risk assessment, and also potentially find this a beneficial venture for yourself as well. Okay. So if you need to know anything else, just contact us, but also I'm open to questions. Thank you very much for listening. Oops. Hi, sorry. Can I pass the floor back to Eugene? Are you okay? Can you hear me, Eugene?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Tan. Okay, our next speaker is a senior lecturer from UiTM, here to share some more about a custom developed senior health checkup. Let's welcome Dr. Muhammad Hasif.
Share my slide.
Sorry, Dr. Muhammad, you are a little bit soft.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, thank you so much, Eugene. Yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to the MC, to Eugene, okay, the Honorable Prof. Tan Maupin, the Managing Director of Act for Health, Dr. Sumaya Ahmad, Director of Act for Health, Dr. Rohasina Rosli, our dedicated CEO, Dr. Kong Wai Hong, Managing Director, Asian Integrated Medical, and members of the floor. Sorry, I'm not quite well today. First of all, thank you for joining us in our talk. It is an honor to be here to share about some experience and about the quality of life of all the people. My name is Dr. Muasim Ja'far. I was a director at F4 Health, and now I'm a senior lecturer at UiTM. I did PhD under Prof. Tan Maupin, specializing in geriatrics and gerontology. Later, I did postdoc and to continue some research about psychology in elderly. Okay, as you may be aware, even Dr. Kong also mentioned that we expect to have 14% of the older population by 2046. Okay, all the people have a wealth of skills and experiences. They live through situations others cannot even imagine. They have been through difficult situations, such as during the global financial crisis, rapid globalization, inflation, and current COVID situation. So I'm sure if we talk to them, they are willing to reveal some secrets or tips on handling tough situations. They are like diamonds. Okay, therefore, there is no surprise that some older people are still contributing as volunteers, co-workers, mentors to some young people, or become entrepreneurs. Some of them are even active at running some NGOs, helping the society. Okay, what science says about purposeful aging? Aging with purpose can provide a remarkable antidote to physical and mental decline. There are many studies found that if they have positive self-perception, which means that they feel okay to be old, they will live a longer life with decreased rate of cognitive incapacity, stroke, and heart disease. Okay, these findings have profound implications for public health. Okay, so maybe as a doctor, you have met some older people who have negative self-perceptions about aging. Okay, so what do they worry about when they grow older? Okay, if you can see this picture, an old man sitting together with his sons or daughters and having grandchildren. However, behind that smile, there are thousands of thoughts, thousands of anxieties. They worry about their health, their finances, well-being. Will he be lonely after this, or after the spouse die? What will he do? What will happen to the family after he dies? And then studies show that older persons face significant barriers in accessing health services and support, such as transportation difficulties. Okay, they don't also need to worry about themselves, but also they are worried about how they want to get access to health service. Okay, for example, transportation difficulties, they need to pay higher medical costs, fear of discovering serious illness. Okay, like they said that some doctors respond that biasalah sakit tua, for example, like that, and then they don't like that answer because they feel that they don't want to get this disease. Actually, they don't want to get older. Okay, for example, like that, and then they don't want to get forgetful. Okay, so um, as a person that have access to health service, and then we want to help all the people. So there are some concerns that we need to address. And then during the era of COVID-19, questions have been raised about the short and long-term consequences of lockdown, physical distancing, that might have effects on the oldest mental health. Okay, because we know that loneliness is the hidden killer of elderly. We don't want the elderly to be like this, okay, staring around. And then we want people or older people to be like this. Okay, also they can sing. Okay, having a cheerful life. So there are some activity restrictions during the MCO. They cannot go out to eat, traveling, going to the gym, do some volunteering in masjid, in church, or in temple, engaging in self-care or other daily activities. However, for now, MCO has been lifted and we can do some of the activities. Okay, currently we are short of geriatricians in Malaysia. In 2020, we only have 39 geriatricians, with no geriatricians in Terengganu, Kelantan, and Perlis. So if the elderly live in those places, they need to travel to the nearest states just to see a geriatrician. If they are lucky, they can have an appointment 2-3 months later. If not, they have to queue. Okay, maybe until 6 months. And while waiting, no one knows what will happen. So that's why through our research at the University of Malaya, as have been highlighted by Professor Tan Maupin, we found that they need to be able to check at least these 5 things in order to gain better health. Okay, some tests are very simple. Okay, for example, they can check their BMI, okay, grip strength, time up and go, and then memory, and then standing blood pressure. Okay, for example, BMI, we know that obesity can cause cardiovascular disease, cancer, osteoarthritis, and diabetes. We must make sure that they have normal BMI. So that's why in our program, we calculate their BMI and monitor the progress of their checkup. Okay, they just need to calculate the height and weight. Okay, for example, the height might be the same, however, for the weight, so we test them maybe this month, and then next month, then the 3rd month. Okay, so we test their BMI. Okay, we monitor their BMI, and then they also must know their grip strength, because grip strength is an indicator of upper body strength. hand grip is an indicator for frailty and risk of disability among the elderly. For example, some of the elderly use walking stick or tongkat. So if their hand grip is not strong, what will happen? So they cannot rely on that walking stick and fall down. Okay, same goes with climbing stairs. If they cannot grip the trail, they will fall down. Okay, so that's how serious it is if they have lower grip strength. So grip strength is measured by dynamometer. So if you check them and you feel that their grip strength is low, you can let them have this dynamometer and practice at home. This dynamometer, we can see how strong is their grip strength. Okay, for example, you can let them have this at home, so they can do it several times a day to get a strong grip strength. Okay, and then after several research, we got this, the normal range for grip strength for the Malaysian elderly. Okay, so as you can see, we measured 60 until more than 65 years of elderly, and then we tested their grip strength, and we came up with the normal range of grip strength. Okay, you can read, this is our paper regarding the grip strength. So we found that men decline higher with increasing age. Urban group was stronger than rural group. Okay, through this study, we confirmed that the measurement can be used to assess Malaysian elderly health status and disability. Okay, and then next test is time up and go. Time up and go test is used to assess mobility, balance, walking ability, and falls risk in all the adults. The test is very simple. You just need to sit down on an armchair. Then you get up and walk 3 meters with normal walking speed. Okay, so if they use a walking stick, they can use walking stick, no problem. Then turn around, and then you need to sit down again. Okay, after that, we will see how many seconds that they can do that. So we use wash. We use the stopwatch. Okay. So so and then if you can see here, they have increased risk of falls if they can have more than 13.5 seconds to go to that chair and sit down again. Okay, so at age 70 years old, so if they can have 15 seconds or more, they are at increased risk of falls. Okay, so they need to be able to walk faster and then more stable. Okay, so that they are not at increased risk of falls. Okay, next, memory test. So memory is an umbrella term used to describe a set of symptoms that can include changes in memory, perception, reasoning, thinking. The common early symptoms would be memory loss, difficulty in concentrating, finding it hard to carry out familiar daily tasks, struggling to follow a conversation, being confused about time and place. Sometimes they may find it hard to remember the exact location. Okay, and then there are several screening tools to screen dementia. I assume that you are familiar with some of these tests, okay, such as MMSE, CDT, MOCA, picture-based memory. Okay, and then last assessment that they can use is standing blood pressure. So in University of Malaya, we did quite a several number of research about standing blood pressure in older people. We found that dizziness and syncope are associated with risk of falls. If they always feel dizzy or feel to pass out, then normally we would advise them to check their blood pressure. So most fallers tend to have low blood pressure while standing. That's why they will feel dizzy. It is caused by a temporary drop in the amount of blood that flows to the brain. Okay, how to check proper measurement of a standing blood pressure? Okay, you need to hold the arm. If an adjustable table is unavailable, okay, through our research, we came up with these normal ranges for all the people. So if they have blood pressure 140 at the age of 74, we will consider them to have a normal blood pressure. However, it is still borderline, so they need to be very careful. And also now currently some research also came out with this line of blood pressure. Okay, and then we have the senior 5-point screening training for health for 1 day. So we want to, if you want to able to determine the most significant factor that will lead to frailty among senior citizens, then you can attend this training, and they will teach you how to use all the 5 tools, 5-point screening. Okay, and then for take-home message, improving an elderly quality of life is the best gift we could give them. However, if we just focus on an aging loved one's physical health, it's not enough. So we must also watch out for their depression, their mental, and their relationships with others. Okay, with that, thank you so much. I give back to Eugene.
I thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Asif. Okay, to our audience here today, if you have any questions regarding the topics and the sharing so far, do let us know what they are in the chat so our speakers can address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's program. For the 6 participants in our chat right now that still have the name Olivia Kwa, I would like to gently remind you to please rename yourselves so that we can identify who you are. Otherwise, there might be some issues with confirming your attendance for your CPD points later on. So whenever you can, please do rename yourselves in the chat. You can mouse over to your name in the participants list, click more, and then just rename yourselves to the appropriate name. Thank you very much. All right, going back to our program today, next I'd like to invite Dr. Sumaya, a researcher specializing in the field of aging, here today to speak to us about exercise and its role in reducing fall risks. Dr. Sumaya, the floor is yours.
Hi. Thanks, Eugene. Okay, let me share my slide. I think I will set my background first, if you don't mind.
Sure, no problem.
Share my slide. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sumaya. Okay, I actually a university lecturer in a physiotherapy program in UKM. Okay, and also attached to Center for Healthy Aging and Wellness. Okay, so what I'm going to talk is about exercise to reduce falls risk. What does the evidence say? Okay, so I think we all aware that there are modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors for falls. Of course, age, gender, and the race and comorbidities somehow is you cannot change. Okay, but then the environmental factors, balance and muscle weaknesses, and also the psychological factors like fear of falling is modifiable, right? So today I will focusing on this WHO 2020 guidelines on physical activity, and also and also what is their what we call what is the evidence on the impact of physical activities in reducing falls. Okay. Sorry, let me. Right. So this is actually from a paper from a systematic review paper. Then WHO adopt it as a guideline on a physical activity. Okay. So from this systematic review, which actually is a paper that combined all 116 studies on physical activity and sedentary behavior on the impact of falls. Okay, the pool result is actually include about 25,000 of participants, I think, which is quite robust. Okay, they found that exercise actually reduce rate of fall by 23%, which high certainty evidence. Okay, and they also found that there is variation in effect of different types of exercise. Okay, so it's not just one type of exercise. There's from the 116 study, there are quite wide array of exercises. Example like balance exercise, like strengthening exercise, and also functional exercise. Okay. They also found that for balance itself, they help to reduce 24% of rate of fall. Okay, which include 39 studies out of 116. Okay, and for multiple types of exercise, like the exercise include not only one, but combination of balance, functional, and also resistance. It will help the participants to reduce their rate of falls by 28%. And also one of the most common exercise, which is Tai Chi. Okay. It actually reduced 23% of the rate of fall among the older people. Okay, so this study is aimed to just put like 65 and above population. So according to WHO, 65 and above individual with 65 and above age years old is considered older people. However, in Malaysia, we know that I think we put 60 instead of 65 as older people. Okay, and also they highlight that the effect of falls prevention program was primarily involve strengthening exercise. Okay. However, dancing and walking remain uncertain on the impact. Okay. And they also suggest that weekly dose of 3 hours, 3+ hours, okay, particularly effective with 42% reduction in rate of fall compared to control. Okay. So I think as GPs or health practitioner, we know that exercise improve the muscle, okay, muscle strength, improve balance, okay, their psychological, okay, like we call more healthy mental health, okay, and also boost their brain function, especially for the elderly. Okay, so this is one type of exercise to reduce fall, just like what have been mentioned in the systematic review. Okay, as Asian people, we are more common we are more familiar with Tai Chi. Okay, if you go to any like Taman Permainan or like Taman Jaya in PJ, you can see a group of people doing Tai Chi in the morning, right? So this is one of the evidence-based exercise to reduce falls. Okay. Next is aerobic exercise. Okay, I think this one is most common in the West, I think, and Malaysia also have it, but usually more the group in the like Chinese more tend to do Tai Chi lah. Okay, and yoga. This is also proven as to reduce falls. Okay, it improves their flexibility. Okay, and strengthening exercise. Okay, so basically from the systematic review just now, most of the existing evidence are coming from the Western countries. Okay, so usually they conduct strengthening exercise lah. Okay, so today, okay, I would like to introduce all of you with Otago exercise. Okay, so basically Otago exercise is one of the main what we call the main objective of Otago itself is actually to reduce falls. Okay, so this is a systematic review on Otago alone. Okay, so it's not the combination exercise or what. It's just for Otago exercise to look at whether Otago exercise actually reduce mortality and falls in older people. Okay, so this systematic review is actually published in Asian Aging, which is quite highly cited journal. Okay, so the evidence showed that when they try to like pull the data from all this study to look at the impact of Otago exercise, they found that most of the the risk ratio here is actually the mortality outcome. Okay, so basically participants with Otago exercise as compared to the control are less likely or protected. It's not protected from mortality, it's like reduced risk of mortality. Okay, so I also proud to talk about our works in UM. Okay, so this is actually part of my PhD study. Okay, so I look at the impact of Otago exercise on postural balance, fear of falling, and also falls risk. Okay, particularly in older fallers with knee osteoarthritis. What does it mean with older fallers? It's like older people with history of fall. Okay, usually those with history of fall are more likely to have what we call recurrent fall as compared to the non-fallers. Okay, they are more tend to fall as compared to those without history of fall. Okay, right. So from our works in UM, okay, so we also measured fear of falling. So what does it mean with fear of falling? Is like their self-efficacy toward falls. Okay, whether they have this kind of concern while putting on their clothes, okay, or taking bath, okay, getting up from a chair, okay, or climbing stairs, okay, or reaching upper from above their head, okay, walking through any charon lah. Okay, this one is actually translated one. I don't remember the English. Okay, or they have concern on falling while socializing. Okay, example going to malls or just meeting friends. Okay, so this is false efficacy scales. Okay, so from here we can actually categorize whether the individual had high or low fear of falling. Okay, so from from our works in together with Prof. Tan and also people in experts in rehab. Okay, we found that Otago is actually improved the individuals or the individual with postural problem. Okay, so they actually, even though they have knee pain, okay, their postural control improved after working after conducting this program. It's actually like a 6-month program. So we measured twice, after 3 months and also after 6 months. So both, I think I just report the 6 months. So after 6 months, it's actually significantly improved their postural control. Okay, and it's also their on their self-efficacy on falls, and also which is mean that their fear of falling reduce, in which they are more confident to go socializing, to do their activities of daily living, okay, without concerning about falls. Okay, so this is one of exercise that actually can, it's not just physically improve the physical state of the body, it also improve the psychological, okay, which is their confidence. Okay, so this is Otago exercise all about. Okay, so it's actually originate from Otago, New Zealand. Okay, so Prof. Campbell, okay, he actually was the one training. Yeah, I hope you can still hear me. Okay, right. So Otago exercise consists of 34 types exercise. Okay, like individuals or participants in this program, okay, were encouraged to do it like 3 to 5 times each week. Okay, so it's actually conform with the WHO guideline. Okay, they mentioned that 3+ hours weekly is effective, right, to improve falls risk among older people. Okay, so basically it's combination of warming up. Of course, we start with warm up exercise and then strengthening and also balance. Okay, so in this study, in this program, older people will be prescribed by the physiotherapist, okay? And then they will be provided with some like a module or like a manual with a picture on how to do the each exercises, okay? And then they will need to fill up the diary. Okay, so the diary we gave to them is to measure the compliance lah, basically. Okay, compliance and the adherence to the exercise. Okay, so to conclude, okay, I would say that Otago exercise is beneficial to reduce risk of falling in older people. Okay, regardless if you are if the older people is having some sort of knee pain, like osteoarthritis, which usually that's the concern among the older people. So they will give us the excuse that, doctor, I have knee pain, I don't think I can do exercise. Okay, but the evidence has proven that even though they have been diagnosed with osteoarthritis, Otago exercise is actually safe for them, okay, to be conducted, and it's actually easy to perform. Okay, so they can do it at home. Okay, but I understand that maybe the participants will need guidance. Okay, because the manual is actually very brief. So in Act for Help, we do provide Otago exercise training. Okay, so it can be virtual or maybe they can come to our center to learn all this from our physiotherapists. Okay. Right. So I think there is no excuse that they can give to the GPs anymore, right? So if they say that I have no energy to exercise, I think there is the to go to like taman is troublesome. To go to like recreational garden like Bukit Jalil Kapu is too far. Then they can actually do it at home. Okay, all right. So I think Otago provides the alternative for the older people to keep active even though they are at home. Okay. So again, I would say that this is one of the best exercise for older people to reduce risk of fall because cheap. Okay. There is no need for equipment like treadmill or bicycle. They can just do it at home. And then if the only things that they need is actually ankle weight. Okay, ankle weight can get it from Tesco with only 30 ringgit. Okay, so I think this is one of the best exercise for all the people. Okay, so I think that sum up my presentation. Yeah, I will and share.
Thank you very much,
All right.
Dr.
No
Sumaya.
No problem.
Okay,
I
one.
share my slide. Sorry.
Yes, please.
How to stop sharing? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right. One final reminder to the 5 people in chat still named Olivia Kwa. If you do not rename yourselves, then we cannot verify whether or not you have attended the webinar, and we will be unable to give you the CPD points. So if you can, please do quickly take a minute to rename yourselves in the chat. There are 5 more participants still named Olivia Kwa. Yeah. So if you're here and you can hear me, just go to your name in the participant list in Zoom, click more, and you should be able to rename yourself. Yeah. So kindly do that. Otherwise, there might be some issues in giving you your CPD point. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Next, I'd like to invite our final guest speaker for today. I'd like to introduce the CEO of Act for Health and also our co-organizer for today's webinar, Dr. Rosalina Rosley, to speak to us today about memory tests. Dr. Rosalina, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Eugene. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to everyone. Thanks again to our MC Eugene, to Olivia, to Dr. Kong Wai Hong, and my respected dear colleagues, and also all the audience. So again, my name is Dr. Rosalina Rosley, and I'm Dr. by PhD in UM. So throughout the sharing, I will also share all of my PhD work as well, like how all my other colleagues. Okay, so for today, I'm going to do sharing about the assessing memory. All right, so here, so did you know that why it is mostly important about dementia is because 1 in 20 of the Malaysians who are above 65 years and above usually suffered from moderate to severe dementia. So we need to know that the people that are suffering with dementia, usually they will have the memory problem, cognitive problem, for example, like the speech, intellectual ability, and also in the more moderate or severe conditions that they will have changes in the mood, personality, and also behavior. So all of these factors may contribute to some of the difficulty for the family members and caregiver to attend them on a daily basis. So for that, the outline for my sharing is that I would like to let you guys know about what is the cognitive assessment, how to use and what is the challenges of the cognitive assessment tools. what are the types of cognitive assessment tools available, and what is the cognitive assessment tool that recently available in Malaysia. Okay, so first that we need to understand what is cognitive assessment. It is actually there to use to measure individual ability to carry out their activities of daily living that usually require a higher mental function. This is, for example, the ability for them to thinking, for do some calculating or solving skills. And when we do the assessment for the cognitive, the main key things that we want to look at is actually the condition of the cognition or the mental action. Because this is what we need to observe when people are actually living with dementia, where the mental action, when there's an impairment, it may lead to the behavior or the other impairment in the other of the mental function. So what we practice in the clinical, this is a diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorder, or actually known as the DSM-5. It is actually a manual that used by the healthcare professional as a guide to do the assessment. So there's 6 important domains that we included in this DSM-5 that we need to look at when we are assessing dementia. But the first one is language, learning and memory, perceptual motor function, executive function, complex attention, and also social cognition. Sorry, Eugene, if you kind of cannot hear me, please let me know, okay? Because it's very heavily in here. Okay, so I continue with the usage. Okay, I should continue with the usage and challenges of cognitive assessment tools. So as the dementia severity are going to progress, so there are different types of usage of cognitive assessment tools. It started with the screening, where usually we use in the population level, or for example, when we do the health screening, we want to look at the opportunistic screening. So when we talk about the screening, so of course we want to use a tool which is a brief, easily to be administered, because we will use it in the large amount of population, and sometimes in a busy clinic setting. So we want it to be brief. So when we talk about brief, there's some of the challenges or the potential setback is that it may have a lack of or limited domain that we're going to measure. Remember just now I said that's a 6 important domain for us to measure the dementia. So perhaps in the screening, maybe it is only about cover 3 to 4 of important domain. And after we do the screening, we go to the diagnostic, or usually this is used in the first consultation when the client or are seeing the doctors or GP. So the key criteria for this is that the tools must be able to assess all domains, important domains, or at least cover most of the important domains. And it also needs to be precise. However, the challenges with this type of diagnostic tool, it maybe have the educational bias because it is more comprehensive and it is time consuming. Sometimes it can be up to 1 hour depending on people. After that, we need to do a monitoring or follow up. Okay, because for the first time that you see your client and you do the assessment, and perhaps then later you will get another appointment for after 3 or 4 months. So you want to see how is the progress, whether it's more decline or if there's just a maintenance, or if it's just maintained or it is improving. So the key criteria which is important for this monitoring assessment, you need to be sensitive because we want to pick up if there is any improvement or decline, like I mentioned just now. So however, there's a potential setback or the challenges for this because it is the one tools that you're going to use after several periods. If the person is not really having a bad condition of dementia, they will have some learning effect where they can remember the test. So it's no longer valid for your assessment for the monitoring to see how is the progress. And then as the disease are progress, they're going to be entering the stage of prognostication, where the key criteria for this is must be able to assess all domain and also need to be sensitive to change. But again, the challenges for this is going to be have a floor effect. What is mean by that is once the person already in a very progressive or bad level of dementia, there's the tools already unable to pick up any of the means like the score is just going to be just 0 or it's just going to be just as a flaw, just maintained for how many assessment that you do. And the last thing is the end of life care. So this prognostication assessment is also very useful for clinician to decide what kind of end of life care plan that they want to decide for their client. All right, now, so I'm hoping for some of the interaction while we are having a very heavy rain outside. I would like to share with me what is the qualitative assessment tool that you have been used or you know. So I will open the chat box here. Hoping that someone wants to share. Okay, it's okay. Maybe some people are still shy or not warm up yet. Okay, so let me just straightly share to you what is the most common type of cognitive assessment tools available out there. So the most commonly tools that we use, like mentioned by my colleague earlier, is the MMSE or mini mental state examination, which is the most widely used in the research setting and also in a clinical practice setting. Okay, so this is the study where actually it's a review. It's a review that conducted that been published in 2012, where they put all of the cognitive assessment tools where the primary or secondary care found it is suitable to use. But of course, when we talk about primary or secondary care, it's going to be in the busy clinic. So they are looking for some sort of criteria of tools that are easily to be administered and brief. So this is the others as well that I think most of the commonly knows using even in Malaysia research is the MOCA, mental cognitive assessment, GP-COG, plot drawing test, and others as well. But the recent one, this is the paper that published in this year, 2022, where a systematic review and a meta-analysis where they do the studies on looking at tools that used for screening the mild cognitive impairment in primary healthcare. Mild cognitive impairment is the early stage of dementia. So for this systematic review and meta-analysis, they put a conclusion that looking at the factors of the accuracy, type of application, ease of scoring, and utilization charges, is the test like IQ code, AD8, and GP-COG are actually the most appropriate, or by using individual or in a combination, as a good alternative for them to use in to replace the MMSE in the primary care, because this result is actually really influenced by what happening previously, which is the pandemic of the COVID-19. So people are looking for alternative, not seeing the clients strictly who are more frail and in a higher risk of group, but perhaps they are assessing their carer or the family members or the caregiver to do the assessment for the cognitive assessment. So now, what is a cognitive assessment tool that recently available in Malaysia? So I would like to share the paper that also published this year. This is the validation of visual cognitive assessment test, or we call it as a VCAT, among our population in Malaysia. All right. So from this study, it is using a VCAT where it is very useful for multilingual population. Why do I say so? Because this visual-based cognitive assessment tool by its name is actually using a picture. So it is more friendly for the multilingual, and it is actually developed in Singapore, which is also kind of the same setting as Malaysia with the multiracial. And it is used language neutral, because since I mentioned it's a picture, you can administer it by using any type of language that the client are comfortable with. So it is a point score of 30 point test, where it evaluates 5 important domains, which is a very good tools to be used as for the screening. So because it's not that long, it just takes about 5 to 10 minutes. So it covers the memory, executive function, visual spatial function, attention, and also semantic knowledge to see ability of your client. Okay. Other than that, we also have the IDEA screening test. So this is the Malaysian version. So this is actually a part of my PhD studies as well for last time, where I do the validation of these tools. So this tools is actually developed in Tanzania. So as a name, is Tanzania. So you know that the setting is people with the most are in the low socioeconomic status. They are having a very kind of low educational. So this do some sort of take out all most of the bias factors that may contributing to false positive or false negative result when you do the assessment. So this tools is also brief, which is take about 5 to 6 minutes if you want to administer it. Okay, so I would like to share about these tools, because this is all the published paper that we work on this while I'm doing my study in University of Malaya. So we do publish this paper in terms of the systematic review, and also we publish the cutoff score, what is the most suitable for our Malaysian population setting, and we present it in nationally and internationally. So all the hard work is actually put into this validation for this idea test, as idea screening test, where we do it home to home visit for those. So we're going to make sure that we remove all the factors of having the anxiety doing the assessment in the clinic, where we do in their own home setting, and we also combine with the others. Mostly what you use tools as a comparative with the idea test that we are going to do some validation. And also, other than with testing it among the people that are having a symptom for dementia, but we also test this among the people who are administering the tools, because we during the workshop where we put together those who are healthcare professional, researcher, postgraduate students, and also experts that are within the area of cognitive, then we some sort of getting a feedback of what they think about the tools and how easily and how easy to be trained for this all of these tools to be administered and used in the disease setting. All right, so I just would like to share. I always love to share this picture where, you know, when you go to the home of your all these elders, they will usually have a very warm welcoming. They will entertain you as much as they like. All right. So also we proudly to say that the tools that we validated used as part of the mental health dementia screening in the National Health Mobility Survey for Elderly Health in 2018. So from this survey that involved about 3,000 plus of the participants, they found that there's about 8.5% actually seeing that the prevalence of dementia among these 3,000 plus people. So you must see how important it is for you to really some sort of detecting and having the early detection for any kind of sort of symptom for dementia. All right. So of course, in terms of to make sure that you're really able to have a good detection and early detection for all of the symptoms, we here in Act for Health, and also we're collaborating with our partners, iElder, we would like to really encourage you to come and join us to participate our training, especially that we want to focus on do the memory test, where it is a one-day course where we're not only focusing on just how to administer it, but we will learn on how to do the right consultation and what the correct pathway and what are all the important factors that you need to tackle in when you do the memory test. All right. And of course, there are, after you assessing the memories, sometimes you may find that actually they are still in the early phase. This is where you want to tackle for the early intervention. Then you can also encourage them to do some sort of exercise, where here in Active also we have the brain exercise for them to undergo the program to improve or some sort of maintain their cognitive function. So with that, I would like to thank you for your attention. So I just stop here because I think we have still got time, right? Maybe Eugene, you want to give some
Sure, no problem. Thank you so much, Yeah, we do have a little bit of time, so maybe we can answer a few questions that we already have in chat. Yeah, we have a question from a Jamila Zainuddin asking if there is there any evidence or known association between mental stress or trauma to onset of dementia in the elderly.
Hi, I should answer that. Hi.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, actually I was at the Genting Dementia Daycare Center, for which that's my other hat. I am the medical director, and I actually was sharing with the staff there that there were quite a few of our clients who actually lost an adult child. So they grew so old that their child died before them, and that seemed to be when things went south. So yes, definitely there is evidence that mental stress, depression, all seem to increase the risk of dementia. And definitely, if you have a history of depression, the risk of dementia is higher. And therefore, we are actually asking those who who look after people with depression to screen more carefully for cognitive impairment.
Thank you very much for the answer. Is that okay, Ms. Jamila? Does that answer your question, or do you have any follow-up questions? Okay, thanks for your response. All right. Okay, so let's say if we do have is there any anything we can do for those who are currently going through mental stress and trauma in order to prevent it from developing into something more serious?
Yes. Well, of course, the ideal thing is not to have any mental stress at all. But things are. We usually say that everything in geriatrics is a little bit like Goldilocks. So not too much, not too little, just right. So not to have mental stress at all is also bad. Yeah. So what we find is that if you stay in a bubble and you don't stimulate your mental ability, then you are also more likely to get dementia, because your neurons degenerate faster. They don't have branches, so we are not. So that's also no good. So I think there's an optimal, just right level of stressness that we are hoping for, and that's really the principles by which we actually do our cognitive training. So we actually stress them mentally, such that there is then there is repair. We stimulate the repair mechanisms, and then so when they repair, they grow new neurons. And they don't grow neurons. The existing neurons grow more branches. We call it neuroplasticity. So the answer to how we prevent those from severe mental stress or mental illness from developing dementia is to probably make sure that they have adequate mechanisms to deal with their stress and their mental illness, such that it becomes a positive thing rather than a negative thing. So then the stress doesn't get too much for them.
I see. Okay, previously you mentioned that like let's say to prevent fall risks, right? Act for Health has a program for the Otago exercise program. Do you guys happen to have a program for the mental side as well? Not yet.
Yeah, no, Nina, would you like to answer that? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, you asking about the mental health?
Yes,
cognitive
correct.
training, Nina.
Yeah,
Cognitive training.
yes. So yeah, we do have that. Like so I mentioned previously, if we found that our client having some sort of early or mild of a cognitive impairment, then we encourage them to do the brain exercise. So this is a program where we work with our occupational therapists, where the occupational therapists will do some sort of assessment to see and plan accordingly based on the client needs and what the important domain that they need to target on. So we do have that.
So when Professor Tan mentioned stressing the brain in order to create more branches, is it related? Like, does doing this exercise also help to create more branches?
Yes. Because like I mentioned, the OT or occupational therapists will look throughout the result from the assessment. So they see what the lacking is. So some sort of the, not really, mostly are stressing them out. There are several kind of activities that are included, which is fun, and also kind of bringing the reminiscent therapies and some sort of like that. But all of this actually back to the main the main aim where we want to stimulate their brain. Yeah, so it's not really like just focusing on stressing them
I
out.
see. Okay, thank you very much for answering the question. We do have another question from a Tan Se Ling asking, this is to everyone. Just wondering what your position on supplements is. Example, some research on medium chain FAs like coconut oil shows some promise. Would you guys like to come in with an opinion on this?
That's my area. Yes. Interesting. Yeah. So for the doctors, it's always an answer. We find it very difficult to actually answer, because as a medical practitioner, I'm not supposed to advocate the treatment until they've gone through the rigors of clinical trials and it's been proven to be effective, and the treatment is then registered within the Malaysian Pharmaceutical Authority. But so supplements don't do that. They don't register, and they don't tend to go through that level of evidence base. So for me to recommend a supplementation means that it's very difficult unless there is a similar amount of evidence base. So having said that, there is one supplement that has a similar level, more or less, of evidence base when it comes to memory. So it's actually EGB 761, which stands for extract of ginkgo biloba 761, but the evidence is very specific to that extract. So you actually have to buy a rather expensive product in order to actually achieve the benefit. So don't go out and eat lots of pakor because it's poisonous. Definitely don't go and ground up lots of leaves, because that's where what the extract is made of. And there is always a danger. So that's why we don't advocate, because the supplements on the market are all different quality. And some of these, if you're not giving in the right kind of compound form, can actually lead to toxicity. Not that our medications don't have toxicity, of course, but at least we know what we're expecting, whereas all these things we don't know. So difficult question, and I've not answered it, I know, but long story short, EGB 761, the trade name is called Teibonin. It's the only one which has been shown to reduce progression to dementia from mild cognitive impairment. We do ask patients if they are interested when they ask, but don't take that medication on its own. You got to do it with brain exercise. In actual fact, the only thing that has been shown to really prevent someone developing dementia is actually not just brain exercise, but a whole lifestyle, lock, stock, barrel change in lifestyle, which actually was achieved in Finland. So we hope that that can be actually introduced as a product, but it will be a very big scale product. And that's why we need to collaborate with people like iElder.
Thank you very much for that answer, Professor Tan. Very, very good to know that we can't just rely on supplements, especially from a evidence-based institution, evidence-based organization, institution. So always, don't just take things like one supplement at a time. Do refer to the experts, do refer to the evidence for the best results, most reliable form of results. Yep. Okay. I think we can go into the previous session, the preview session of the training now. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the floor back to Dr. Rosalina. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Yuji. So thank you for all the questions. It's a very interesting and it's kind of somewhat warm up the session as well. So yeah, the reason why we are here is because of our awesome collaboration with iElder as our authorized partner, where we are Act for Health, a spin-off company from the University of Malaya, and also a business arm of Aging in Age-Associated Disorder Research. We would like to introduce about all of this. The one that we're sharing just now is actually to preview about our senior health assessment training that are available for you to sign up. All right. So what is I go through again that all the training senior health assessment that we have is actually currently we have all both in a virtual mode and also in-person mode, where one is a senior health booklet. We have a senior 5-point screening, like how shared by Dr. Muhammad Hassan just now. We have a false risk assessment, the one that covered by Professor Tamalpin, memory assessment that covered by me, home hazard assessment, that's some sort of related with Professor Tamalpin sharing as well. And of course, the last one is the Otago exercise for the therapy program. So, so all of this training is actually now available for all of you to look up to sign up. Okay, so what the most important thing that we want to highlight about the value of our training is that it's because of our tests and therapy have been proven useful for our Malaysians senior citizen, because it is from our own research from the University of Malaya. And we are proud to say that we are a company that are looking for the evidence-based service, especially catering for this senior citizen population. And all of our training are CPD claimable. So it is very good for your achievement. And again, like I mentioned, it's available virtually and in person. You can suit to according to your flexibility and how you would like to have the training. So so since that we have a very good partner, like I mentioned just now with the iElder, so we make the introductory offer for the first 15 packs people that sign up through iElder. And all of these 15 pack sign up is actually open for all of the in-person courses, like the one that I mentioned just now. There's 6 training that are available. So please go for it, and you can always come back to us and iElder as well to ask more, to know further details about the trainings. So with this, I pass it to Eugene.
Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, if you'd like to find out more about these programs later on in the feedback form, there'll be a couple of links that you can click on. We do have a WhatsApp support group for those who are interested. So during the feedback form, if you see the part where it says, I am interested in learning more about this, or I'm interested in participating, you can go ahead and click the link and it will add you to a WhatsApp support group, and we will be able to assist you further over there. Okay. So we don't have any more Q&A in chat at the moment. I'm just going to quickly ask the floor if you have any last minute Q&A questions for our panelists. Also, a very quick round of thanks to our panel speakers here today for taking the time to be here and also to share your expertise. Thank you so much for and thank you to the audience as well for coming in. If there are no questions, I think if you, let's say after the webinar, if you have more questions, you can always just drop us questions or comment on our video later on, which will be up on, I think, Facebook Live. So go ahead and you can check that out on our website. That's on facebook.com/iElder.asia, or you can always visit our website at www.iElder.asia as well. Do feel free to contact us any given time and we will assist you the best way we can. Okay, if there are no further questions, I think that will probably bring us to the end of our webinar for here today. Just have a few things left before we go. First of all, we have prizes to give away for 10 lucky participants here in chat. Thanks to our sponsors, Abbott, Viva Mastery Consultancy, and Cypress Medics Berhad. Our list of prizes today include 1 Rosmax weighing scale, digital weighing scale, 4 pen drives sponsored by Abbott's and Sure Gold, and 5 business breakthrough consultation sessions worth 1,250 ringgit each. So what we're going to do, I'm going to quickly share my screen. And you can see Okay, we have everyone's names here over in the chat, and we are going to quickly pick 10 names from this list. Yeah, so I'm going to scroll down here, and we are going to start with our first winner. Congratulations, Miss Jaira Arika Binti Sudamuji. Are you here in chat? If you're here, do give us a response. Say hi. Yeah, congratulations, Miss Jaira. You are our first winner of today's lucky draw. So here we have a wheel, and we're going to very quickly spin it and see what we have won today. Sorry, gotta take this down. Make sure that we record everyone's names. Okay, first winner for today, we will be giving away a pen drive to Jaira Atika Binti Sudamuji. Congratulations once again. Okay, going to very quickly note it down. Later on, you can claim your prizes over at any of our branches in Cheras Perdana or in KPJ Tawakal. Okay, let's go to our second winner of the day. We're going to pick another name. Congratulations, Dr. Cheryl. Dr. Cheryl, are you here in chat today? Dr. Cheryl, if you're in chat, do come by and say hi so that we can give you your prize. Dr. Yip Mei raise hand. Is that you, Dr. Cheryl? Can you type in chat if you're here? Okay, there we go. Dr. Yip Mei. Dr. Yip Mei. Okay. All right. Okay, congratulations. We will see what you have won here on the wheel today. We have a second winner for pen drive. Congratulations, Dr. Yip. Okay, 8 more winners left. You're very welcome, Dr. Yip. Kyle Lim. Kyle Lim, are you here in chat? Mr. Kyle Lim, congratulations, Mr. Kyle. You are our third winner for today. Wow, for the third one in a row, we have another winner who's gotten a pen drive. You're very welcome, Mr. Kyle. Okay, 7 more winners left. Our next winner, Miss Lim Hui Sin. Miss Lim Hui Sin, are you here in chat? Miss Lim Hui Sin. If you're here, say hi so that we can give you your prize. Going once. Going twice. Okay, I think Miss Lim is no longer here with us in chat. So we're going to go and spin one more time to see who our fourth winner is. Shireen Dulau. Do we have a Miss Shireen Dulau here with us in chat?
No, she's not here.
Oh, she's not here. Left already. Okay, no worries. We're gonna just have to pick another one. Miss Philomena. Miss Philomena, are you still here with us in chat? If you're here in chat with us, do say hi. No, seems that she's also not here anymore. Dr. Kwang. Dr. Kwang, are you here with us? If you're here, Dr. Kwang, do say hi in chat. Congratulations, Dr. Kwang. You are our 4th winner of our lucky draw here today. And Dr. Kwang, you have won a business breakthrough session worth 1,250 ringgit. Congratulations. We will put you through to our sponsors right after the webinar. Congratulations, congratulations. Okay, next winner. Jamila Zainuddin. Miss Jamila Zainuddin, are you here with us in chat? Hi, congratulations. You are winner number 5 of our lucky draw. And your prize. Oh, the one and only Ross Max scale. Congratulations. We only had one of this unit, so you are the lucky one to have received it. Congratulations, congratulations. Okay, 5 more winners to go. Next up, we have Sean Uy. Sean Uy, are you here with us in chat? Congratulations, Mr. Sean. Okay, we only have 6 prizes left to go. 4 business breakthroughs and 2 pen drives. Let's see what you've won. Congratulations, Mr. Sean Uy. You have won yourself a business breakthrough session worth 1,250 ringgit. You're welcome. Okay, 6 down, 4 more to go. Is that 6 down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pen drive, pen drive, pen drive. Oh, we have an extra pen drive in here. There's only 4 pen drives. I'll remove one very quickly. Thank you very much. Okay, 4 more to go. Next one. Miss Tan Se Ling. Miss Tan Se Ling, are you here with us in chat? Miss Tan Se Ling, if you're here with us, hi, congratulations. You are winner number 7. Okay. 3 business breakthroughs, 1 pen drive. Let's see what you've won. Congratulations, Miss Tan. You are the final winner for our pen drive, sponsored to us by Abbott and Ensure Gold. Now we only have 3 more business breakthroughs. So our final 3 winners will all be winners of this business breakthrough. So let's go ahead and pick our final 3 winners for today. Miss Niza Hamiri. Is there a Niza Hamiri with us in chat here today? Hi, congratulations. You are our 8th winner and you have won yourself a business breakthrough session worth 1,250 ringgit from our partners. Congratulations. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 2 more to go. Miss Cheris Ng, are you here with us in chat? Miss Cheris Ng? Hi, congratulations. You are winner number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 9. You have won yourself a business breakthrough session worth 1,250 ringgit. Okay, now we're down to our final winner for today's lucky draw. And our final winner for today, Miss Sharifa Soleha Syed Muhammad Fahmi. Miss Sharifa, are you here with us in chat today? Hi, congratulations. You are our 10th and final winner, and you have received a business breakthrough session together with our partners, sponsor and partners. You're very welcome. Congratulations once again to all of our winners. I hope you guys had a very good webinar, very good learning session here today. Thank you once again for the final time to all of our speakers. And for those of you who did not win in today's lucky draw, fret not. We have something for you as well. For all of the participants who have attended here today, speakers included, we have a 10 ringgit discount voucher for all of you. Redeemable upon checkout when you purchase any item at www.iElder.asia. Now, before you go, we also need you to fill in this feedback form so that you can claim your CPD points. There'll be a QR code and there'll be a link down in chat. I'm going to post it in chat right now. So that is the link to the feedback form. Thank you guys so much for coming. And if you're interested in attending more webinars like these, we have another event coming up next month where we'll be touching on the topic of palliative care and how to deal with the stress of the end of life journeys of our patients. You can sign up for a seat in advance by scanning the QR code in the short video that we'll be sharing in a little bit. But thank you guys so much for coming, and I hope we have a wonderful day. Thank you to our speakers, Dr. Tan, Dr. Rosalina, Dr. Smaya, Dr. Hasif, and thank you so much to Act for Health and iElder.asia. We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Sorry? Okay, yeah. Thank you, speakers. Bye, everyone.
Bye.